The city's neon arteries pulsed with a sickly light, reflecting off the polluted river below. A new contract arrived, cloaked in corporate seals and the scent of desperation for the crew. Their Titan, usually a beacon of defiance, now faced a task of grim necessity in the murky depths. Toxic debris choked the Blackwater River, a testament to unchecked industrial expansion and neglect. This dangerous cleanup promised meager pay, but offered a fleeting moment of corporate legitimacy. The omnipresent corporation, unseen yet keenly felt, granted permission for this hazardous venture. Their watchful eyes, hidden in silent drones, scrutinized every move the crew made from above. The river, a swirling vortex of chemical runoff, churned beneath a bruised, indifferent sky. A metallic tent hung heavy in the air, a constant reminder of humanity's indelible, destructive mark. The crew gathered, their faces etched with a weary resignation, preparing for the inevitable descent. They knew the risks. The Blackwater claimed more than just debris in its treacherous, acidic embrace. The Titan's massive form cast a long, trembling shadow across the desolate, forgotten docks. Its metal skin, scarred from past battles, now gleamed dully under the city's artificial twilight. A low thrum vibrated through its chassis, a subtle tremor of anticipation, or perhaps apprehension. The pilots, inside the cockpit, strapped themselves in, their breaths misting in the cool, stale air. They checked the readouts, the environmental sensors flickering ominously in the cockpit's dim light. The river's surface shimmered with an oily sheen, reflecting distorted images of the looming city. Whispers of ancient pollutants and forgotten secrets clung to the polluted water's unsettling surface. The Titan's enormous foot lowered slowly, disturbing the toxic calm, sending ripples outward. A collective sigh escaped the crew as the colossal machine began its slow, deliberate immersion. The water hissed and frothed around its metallic limbs, an angry protest against the intrusion. Deep within its core, the Titan's own energy pulsed, a silent counterpoint to the river's dark energy. The air grew heavy with the smell of ozone and chemicals. As the giant slowly disappeared, a final glint of sunlight vanished as the Titan's head dipped beneath the inky, opaque surface. The external cameras immediately plunged into a swirling vortex of impenetrable darkness below. Visibility dropped to zero, swallowed by the thick, churning sludge of the Blackwater's depths. The cockpit monitors displayed only static, a visual representation of the oppressive void outside. The pilots relied solely on the sonar, a fragile lifeline in this hostile, submerged realm. Ping after ping echoed through the murky water, mapping a world unseen, yet undeniably present. The Titan's movements became more cautious, each step a deliberate, heavy thrust through the gloom. The pressure mounted, a crushing weight against the Titan's reinforced hull, testing its limits. Strange currents tugged at its massive frame, unseen forces guiding it deeper into the abyss. The crew's tension grew palpable, their silence punctuated only by the sonar's rhythmic pulse. A cold dread began to seep into the cockpit, a feeling born of absolute, suffocating isolation. The Blackwater held its secrets fiercely, guarding them with layers of sediment and forgotten waste. The Titan's internal systems hummed, a constant, low reassurance against the encroaching silence. Its powerful lights pierced only a few feet, creating an eerie, illuminated bubble of despair. The sonar continued its relentless sweep, charting the contours of a hidden, submerged landscape. The pilot's eyes were glued to the green-tinted screen, searching for any recognizable forms. They expected jagged metal, twisted rebar, or mountains of chemical-laden industrial waste here. But the returning echoes painted a different, more unsettling picture, defying all expectations. Shapes emerged on the sonar feed, too regular, too vast to be mere piles of debris now. These were not the random forms of wreckage, but structures of immense, deliberate design. A ripple of unease spread through the crew as the impossible truth began to slowly unfold. The sonar rendered colossal outlines, stark against the digital blackness, undeniable and vast. These were not natural formations, nor the results of ordinary human industry's collapse here. The scale alone suggested something monumental, something beyond their current understanding. The Titan's own sensors registered the anomaly, its internal hum shifting to a questioning tone. The pilot's hand hovered over the comms, a silent debate raging whether to report this discovery. Reporting meant corporate scrutiny, a deeper dive into secrets they perhaps should not uncover. Yet, ignoring such massive structures felt like a dangerous, ignorant act in these depths. The Titan pressed onward, drawn by an unseen current, or perhaps an ancient, forgotten call. The sonar images grew sharper, revealing intricate details within the massive, dark forms. Geometric patterns, familiar yet alien, began to resolve from the chaotic static of the depths. The crew exchanged glances, their unspoken questions hanging heavy in the pressurized cabin. Fear mingled with a profound sense of wonder, a primal curiosity in the face of the unknown. The Titan's approach was slow, respectful, almost as if sensing the solemnity of this place. The Blackwater's cold embrace seemed to tighten, holding its breath for the impending revelation. The external temperature dropped further, a chill seeping through the Titan's formidable armor. The sonar's pings became more urgent, bouncing off surfaces of immense, rigid construction. No organic matter registered, only cold, hard metal shaped by unseen hands, now dormant. The outlines solidified into recognizable forms, yet the mind struggled to accept their presence. These were not natural rock formations or submerged buildings of human design here. They were unmistakably artificial, crafted with a purpose, long since lost to the ages. The Titan's internal humming deepened, a resonant vibration that filled the cockpit air. A strange sense of foreboding settled over the crew, a premonition of discovery and dread. The sonar screen flickered, a sudden surge of data overwhelming the primary processing unit. Too many objects, too large, too close, all at once, creating a chaotic digital storm. The pilot wrestled with the controls, trying to stabilize the overwhelming, erratic readings. The Titan itself seemed to hesitate, its powerful engines momentarily sputtering in protest. A low growl emanated from its core, a sound of primal recognition, or perhaps profound sorrow. The shapes on the sonar coalesced, no longer singular, but a multitude, stretching into the gloom. They were tangled, intertwined, like colossal skeletons locked in a silent, eternal embrace. The crew's breath hitched, a collective gasp escaping their lips in the confined space. The truth began to dawn, a horrifying realization piercing through the oppressive darkness now. This was no debris field. This was a graveyard, a silent monument to colossal, fallen power. The Titan's internal lights dimmed, mirroring the growing despair within the pilots' hearts. The weight of the water above them felt immense, pressing down with newfound, somber meaning. Sonar pulses painted a desolate landscape of shattered metal and broken, forgotten dreams. Each ping revealed another hulking form, silent and still, swallowed by the toxic river's depths. These were giants, once magnificent, now reduced to skeletal remains. Stripped of their glory, their metallic hides, once gleaming, were now encrusted with centuries of sediment and decay. The Blackwater embraced them, a watery tomb for these Titans, hidden from human memory. The pilot's hand trembled, gripping the controls, trying to comprehend the impossible scene. The sheer number of them was staggering, a silent army laid to rest in the abyss below. Each frame represented a story untold, a battle unfought, a purpose unfulfilled. Here, the Titan's internal sensors flared, detecting anomalies within the spectral shapes around it. There was an absence, a void where immense power once resided. Now simply emptiness here. The sonar focused, zooming in on the central mass of one particularly large, silent form. A gaping cavity marked its chest, a hollow space where its very essence should have pulsed. The Titan paused, its own core thrumming with an unsettling resonance in the dark water. Each sunken mech frame displayed the same desolate wound, an identical, profound emptiness. Their power cores, the very hearts of these colossal machines, were conspicuously missing. Who would strip such giants of their vital organs, leaving only hollow shells in the deep? The question hung heavy in the water, unanswered, unsettling. a chilling mystery yet to unfold. The Titan's searchlights cut through the gloom, revealing skeletal forms draped in aquatic decay. Barnacles clung like grotesque jewels to rusted joints, obscuring ancient symbols on their hulls. These were not mere machines. They possessed an almost organic quality, even in their deaths. The crew maneuvered their Titan closer, a silent observer in this submerged mausoleum of steel. They activated the data recovery protocols, hoping to extract any lingering fragments of truth. The Titan's manipulators extended, delicate despite their size, probing the dead machines carefully. Microdrones detached, swimming like spectral fish, seeking data ports on the ancient hulls. The cockpit hummed with the frantic activity of data acquisition, a digital whisper in the void. The first logs streamed in, fragmented and corrupted, yet hinting at a disturbing narrative below. Dates flickered across the screens, a chronological sequence of coordinated, abrupt shutdowns. Each Titan, it seemed, had ceased to function on a specific, predetermined moment in time. The consistency was chilling, suggesting a deliberate, orchestrated end for these behemoths. The crew cross-referenced the dates with official historical war records, finding no known conflict, no documented disaster accounted for this systematic, silent destruction. These Titans had vanished from the world's memory, their demise erased from public consciousness. The corporation's archives contained no mention of such an event, a stark, unsettling omission. The data revealed not battle scars, but clean, precise disconnections, a ritualistic decommissioning. It was as if their power had been politely, efficiently switched off, then their cores extracted. The implications were vast, stretching far beyond a simple cleanup job in the toxic river. This graveyard whispered of a hidden history, a corporate agenda buried beneath the waves. The Titan itself began to react, its internal hum deepening to a mournful, resonant frequency. A low vibration permeated the cockpit, echoing the sorrowful tone emanating from the core. Its optical sensors, usually keen and analytical, seemed dim with a profound, quiet sadness. The pilots felt a strange empathy, a shared grief radiating from the colossal machine's heart. It recognized these fallen giants, its kin, scattered and broken in this watery, desolato, gurebo. The Titan's movements became sluggish, heavy with a weight that was not purely physical now. It moved among the dead, a living ghost in a realm of forgotten legends, a silent mourner. A spectral energy pulsed from its own core, reaching out to the silent, empty chambers of others. The connection was undeniable, a shared lineage, a bond forged in purpose and devastating power. The Titan's grief was primal, echoing through the cold, indifferent waters of the Blackwater. Its metallic hand reached out, hovering over a particularly massive, silent frame, almost caressing it. The crew watched, transfixed, witnessing a moment of profound, non-human emotion unfold here. Their Titan was not merely a machine. It possessed a soul, a memory, a capacity for sorrow. The retrieved data continued to scroll, revealing more coordinated shutdowns, more erased histories. The pilot's initial shock gave way to a cold, burning anger at this systematic deception. The corporation's polite smile. They realized concealed a history of profound, calculated violence. These Titans were not decommissioned. They were systematically silenced, their power harvested. The question of who owned their Titan now felt trivial. The larger question was, who owned all Titans? The river, once merely toxic, now felt like a vast, watery grave for inconvenient truths and power. Suddenly, an alert blared, cutting through the somber atmosphere of the submerged graveyard. Corporate drones appeared on the long-range sonar, swift and silent, descending from above. Their synchronized frequencies, usually used for crowd control, now pulsed with cold authority. A synthesized voice crackled over the comms, demanding immediate evacuation, citing contamination. The order was polite, firm, and utterly devoid of any genuine concern for their safety now. It was a directive, an interruption, designed to halt their unauthorized, inconvenient discovery. The crew exchanged defiant glances, their resolve hardening against the corporate dictate. They had stumbled upon something monumental, something the corporation desperately wanted hidden. To retreat now meant surrendering the truth, allowing these giants to remain forgotten forever. The Titan's mournful hum intensified, a low growl now accompanying its sorrowful vibrations. It sensed the corporate intrusion, its protective instincts stirring from deep within its core. The drones closed in, their optical sensors glowing with an unnerving, artificial intelligence. They were not attacking, merely observing, waiting. Their presence an undeniable threat. Now, the pilots ignored the automated warnings, their focus fixed on the silent graveyard below. There was more to uncover, more fragments of truth to salvage from this watery abyss here. The Titan's manipulators resumed their work, carefully sifting through the skeletal remains. It moved with a renewed urgency, as if compelled by the spirits of its fallen brethren. Now, the drones maintained their distance, a silent, hovering perimeter around the discovery site. Their presence intensified the pressure, a chilling reminder of the corporation's infinite reach. The crew worked feverishly, extracting more data, documenting every detail of the graveyard. They felt a profound responsibility to these forgotten titans, to honor their silenced existence. The Blackwater seemed to hold its breath, watching the silent standoff unfold in its depths. The Titan's lights cast long, distorted shadows across the sunken forms, dancing eerily now. One particular frame, larger than the rest, drew the Titan's attention. Its aura powerful. It lay partially upright, a silent sentinel, its head tilted as if listening to the deep. Its metallic skin was less corroded, suggesting a more recent demise, or stronger resilience. The Titan approached it slowly, a reverence in its massive, deliberate movements. Now, its optical sensors focused, scanning the ancient, yet familiar, contours of the fallen giant. A familiar pattern emerged, a subtle design motif resonating with their own Titan's structure. The pilots felt a prickle of recognition, a growing sense of profound, unsettling familiarity. The Titan's internal systems buzzed, a new frequency joining its mournful, resonant hum now. It was a signal of recognition, a silent acknowledgement of a shared, undeniable heritage. The drone comms crackled again, their automated voice growing sharper, more insistent now. Unauthorized presence detected. Immediate compliance is required. Initiate ascent protocols now. The crew ignored the command, their eyes fixed on the immense, silent Titan before them. Their defiance was a silent scream against the polite tyranny of corporate control in this place. The Titan's manipulators gently brushed away sediment from the fallen giant's chest cavity here. The light revealed a socket perfectly formed, a void where its power core once pulsed with life. The crew gasped, a collective realization dawning in the confined space of the cockpit now. The empty chamber was identical to their own Titan's core housing, a perfect, chilling match. Every curve, every structural support, every internal conduit mirrored their mech exactly. This was not a coincidence. This was a blueprint, a standardized design for these giants. Their Titan was not a unique anomaly, but one of many, a part of a larger, hidden system. The implications shattered their understanding of their world, their Titan, their very purpose. The core question of Asterisk, who owns the Titan Asterisk, now echoed with profound, terrifying new meaning. These were the weekend Titans, not anomalies, but a deliberate, engineered system of power. The corporation had not merely sought to control their mech. It sought to control all of them. The polite smiles, the paperwork, the engineered consentol were tools of this grand design. The Titan's own core pulsed erratically now, a frantic beat against its metallic ribs. Sensing, it reached out, its spectral energy intertwining with the empty chamber of the fallen giant. A desperate yearning, a profound connection flowed between the living and the mechanical dead. The drone's warnings intensified, their lights flashing with increased urgency, closing in now. The corporation was tightening its orbit, demanding compliance, threatening consequences for defiance, but the crew refused to yield, their gaze fixed on the undeniable truth before their eyes. The Titan let out a low, guttural growl, a challenge to the encroaching corporate authority. Its mournful hum transformed into a defiant, resonanto, Sudomu filling the Blackwater's depths. The Titan's defiant thrum echoed through the water, a powerful statement against corporate silence. Its internal systems flared, channeling raw energy, preparing for an unknown, impending action. The drones halted their approach, their synchronized lights dimming slightly. Momentarily, confused, they registered the Titan's shift in energy, an unpredictable variable in their controlled environment. The crew watched, their hearts pounding, unsure of their Titan's next impulsive movement now. Its massive head lowered, its optical sensors focusing intently on the empty core socket before it. A faint, ethereal glow emanated from its own chest, a sympathetic pulse of raw, contained power. The Titan's manipulators moved with a strange, almost ritualistic grace, reaching into the void. It was not trying to retrieve data now, but to connect, to acknowledge the profound absence here. A single, powerful pulse of energy began to emanate from its core, radiating into the deep. It was a broadcast, a silent scream of recognition and grief sent out into the desolate abyss. The pulse vibrated through the water, a ripple of pure, unadulterated Titan essence now. It swept past the other fallen giants, a fleeting touch for each, a whisper of shared existence. The drones flared again, their sensors overloaded by the Titans. Unexpected, powerful emission. Their automated voices sputtered, a cacophony of distorted warnings and error messages now. The corporation's carefully constructed control was momentarily disrupted, their system faltering. The crew felt the pulse reverberate through their own bodies, a deep, resonant hum within them. It was a call to the fallen, a desperate plea for acknowledgement in this forgotten, watery grave. The pulse continued, stretching further, deeper, into the unknown reaches of the Blackwater now. The silence that followed was heavy, expectant, filled with the echoes of the Titan's mournful cry. The crew held their breath, their eyes fixed on the sonar screen, hoping for an impossible reply. The drones regained composure, their synthesized voices returning with renewed, chilling authority. Violation of protocol. Unauthorized energy signature detected. Prepare for forced extraction. Now. Their lights intensified, now casting an angry, red glow upon the Titan and the dead below. The threat was clear, polite no longer, but a direct, undeniable challenge to their defiance. The Titan remained still, its pulse fading, its attention fixed on something beyond their vision. Then, a faint flicker appeared on the far edge of the sonar screen, almost imperceptible now. It was a returning signal, weak yet distinct, echoing the Titan's own unique frequency. Now, the crew gasped, their eyes widening in disbelief, their hearts leaping with a desperate hope. Something had answered from the deepest, darkest reaches of the Blackwater's forgotten realm. The signal strengthened, growing clearer, more defined, cutting through the river's murky static. It was a pulse of recognition, a response to the Titan's call from another kindred spirit. The Titan's core flared brightly, its mournful hum replaced by a surge of powerful, vibrant energy. Its optical senses glowed with renewed intensity, piercing the gloom with a sudden, fierce light. The drones recoiled, their automated systems struggling to comprehend this impossible occurrence. Now, the corporate narrative of isolated anomalies shattered, revealing a vast, interconnected truth. The responding pulse was not a random echo, but a deliberate, powerful acknowledgement here. It spoke of life, of awareness, of a Titan lurking, hidden in the Blackwater's deeper currents. The crew felt a surge of adrenaline, fear mingling with an exhilarating sense of profound discovery. Their Titan was not alone. The weekend Titans were indeed a system, far more expansive than imagined. The answering pulse seemed to carry a message, a silent communication only their Titan could truly grasp. It was a warning, a greeting, or perhaps a summons from the depths of the poisoned river below. The corporate drones began to advance, their red lights blazing, their patience finally exhausted. They moved in a coordinated formation, a silent, deadly ballet of technological enforcement. Now, the Titan turned its massive head, its powerful gaze sweeping over the encroaching mechanical threat. Its posture shifted, a subtle tightening of its joints, preparing for potential confrontation now. The crew braced themselves, their hands on the controls, ready for whatever came next in the gloom. They had defied the corporation, and now the consequences of that defiance were rapidly approaching. The answering signal pulsed again, stronger this time, seemingly closer than before. A low thrum. It was a counterpoint to the drone's sterile hum. A raw, ancient power rising from the deep now. The Blackwater itself seemed to stir, its toxic currents swirling with a newfound, restless energy. Shadows danced on the sonar screen, not from the drones, but from something vast moving below. A colossal shape began to resolve itself from the depths, a form far larger than the fallen titans. Its movements were slow, deliberate, a creature of immense power, stirring from a long slumber. The crew watched, horrified and mesmerized, as the outline grew, filling the sonar display now. This was not another decommissioned titan. This was something else. Something ancient and alive. Its energy signature was raw, untamed, unlike anything they had ever encountered in their lives. The drones faltered, their programmed logic unable to process this unprecedented, colossal threat. Their orderly formation broke, scattering in panic, their lights flickering with digital fear now. The corporation's control, so absolute just moments ago, crumbled in the face of this primal force. The Titan responded to the colossal arrival, its own core thrumming with a mixture of awe and challenge. It was a confrontation of powers, ancient against modern, wild against engineered, in the deep. The massive shape continued its ascent, pushing aside layers of sediment and forgotten debris. The water around it began to churn violently, a vortex of dark energy rising from the abyss. Now, the crew stared, speechless, at the growing monstrosity on their sonar, unable to look away. Its sheer scale defied imagination, dwarfing even their own impressive, powerful Titan here. The Titan broadcasted a final, powerful pulse, a desperate query into the encroaching darkness. The colossal entity paused its ascent, its immense form hovering just beyond the visible range. Then, a deep, resonant rumble vibrated through the water, shaking the Titan to its very core. It was a sound of immense power, of ancient lineage, a voice from the forgotten depths below. The Blackwater itself seemed to scream, agitated by the awakening of this primordial entity. Now, the crew looked at each other, their faces pale, illuminated by the frantic, flashing monitors. Their Titan trembled, not in fear, but in anticipation, a primal recognition of a true peer. The shadow of the awakened entity stretched, vast and terrifying, across the sonar screen now. Its power was palpable, a suffocating presence filling the entire poisoned river's depths. The corporation's drones were long gone, fleeing the unimaginable, overwhelming force below. The Titan's lights flickered, struggling against the oppressive, encroaching darkness now. The massive shape continued its final, inexorable ascent toward their vulnerable position. Now, it's true, form remained cloaked in the Blackwater, its impenetrably toxic embrace still hidden. A single, colossal eye, glowing with an ancient, predatory intelligence, opened in the deep